Piano Tech Support here. Welcome to another video. Today we will talk about repertoire that every pianist should have. So I have split this video into two categories. First would be attending any mid-sized competition, and the second scenario would be giving a recital of about 60 minutes. So, if you're a aspiring pianist, let's say you're a semi-professional, or well, you want to try competitions and you also want to give recitals, I think you should always have this repertoire in your pocket, or let's say it's always should be prepared. Why? Because if you go to a competition, you want your repertoire to be, first of all, compact. You want to know everything about it. It should not be the first time you play it. And second of all, you need the repertoire to be ready. So if you have these pieces at your disposal already, it will be much easier to just, put them in the microwave, so to say, and warm them up. So it's important that you have these pieces at your disposal at any time, I would say, if you're a semi-professional or aspiring pianist. Let's start with the competitions. So I will do many videos on competitions, I'm sure, but for now let's look at the repertoire. And competition repertoire gives you actually a pretty good foundation. I mean, it's helpful for many things. You can use the competition repertoire also for your recitals, but I will talk about that later. First, let's talk about the repertoire that you really need to have in order to attend any competition that you want. Well, any mid-sized competition. So, first, you definitely need to have Bach Prelude and Fugue. So, if you don't have that, don't even think about it, because it's a requirement in many mid-sized competitions to have at least one prelude and fugue. So I remember attending one competition where actually I had the C major from the second book, and the fugue is three voices, and they required it to have four voices, which was strange to me, but maybe it might be the case for you too. So make sure that your prelude and fugue, so the fugue has four voices at least, and then you're good to go probably for any competition. Then you need one or two Chopin etudes. You need those if you want to be a professional. This is the repertoire that every pianist should have. At least one or two Chopin etudes that work really, really well. Why? Because with the Chopin etudes, you can show your technical abilities. I mean, that's what they're there for, right? They're studies, etudes, and in the competition, people want to know, do you have a technique or not? Of course, you can make them musical and whatnot, but the main point is that you play them technically. So you need to have at least one or two Chopin etudes that work in the middle of the night if someone wakes you up. Then you also need to have, in my opinion, one Liszt etude, or from someone like Rachmaninoff or another composer. So I have etudes by Debussy, by Liszt, but it's good maybe to go for Liszt etude, because in some cases they want one etude by Chopin and then one etude from another composer. So always have at least one option that you can rely on, one etude by Liszt that you can play. Okay, then a Haydn or Mozart sonata. So we're not getting into the Beethoven yet, that's for later, but a Haydn or Mozart sonata needs to be there. I mean, if you're a semi-professional, you've probably played a couple in your past, so you just need to have one Haydn sonata that you particularly like, or one Mozart sonata, because those are the most likely scenarios. Then one romantic work that is about 7 to 10 minutes, and this is a big one. This is a very, very big one, because especially in competitions, normally how it works is you have your etudes, you have your Bach. I mean, Bach is optional, but sometimes you have your first movement of a sonata, could be Beethoven, could be Mozart, but you also have your one free piece or one romantic big work, so to say. And that's going to be about 7 to 10 minutes. And what should it be? Well, it can be a Chopin ballade, can be a scherzo, can be a piece from Liszt, from Schumann. There is many pieces to choose from, but you need to have at least one work which is about 7 to 10 minutes in length. That's the bottom line. Then we go to the second round, so to say. So now that you have all this repertoire, it's already a lot, but now we get more into it. So you need a Beethoven sonata complete, not just the first movement, like some people think. You need the whole thing, okay? Whatever it is, 3 movements, 4 movements. You cannot choose like one of the, so to say, in quotes, simpler sonatas, for example, like Opus 14 number 2 or something like that, would not work. You cannot bring that. In most cases, they want a proper full length, so to say, sonata that is 3 or 4 movements and takes about 20, 25 minutes, 30 plus. So, I mean, 30 plus, there is not many, but I'm just saying like 20 minutes at least, a big sonata by Beethoven. It does not really matter which style you go for. If you go for early Beethoven or, his mid works like Passionata, or you go for a late sonata like 110, that does not particularly matter in competitions. They don't usually, I mean, I haven't seen that they want just from one period. So you just need to have one good sonata and stick to that one and choose it. For me, it's the Waldstein sonata. For many people, it's the Passionata. They just know how to play it and play it everywhere. So you need one complete Beethoven sonata is the bottom line here. Okay, then you need a big work that is about 20 to 30 minutes, and usually this is free of choice. So usually you can play any. I mean, the second rounds are more free. For example, Chopin Sonata number 2, or Prokofiev Sonata number 7, or Schumann Symphonic Etudes, Schumann Fantasy. Schumann has a lot of 20 to 30 minute range. Or you can even do like something like Scriabin Sonata number 3. But you need something that fills the time. Even Brahms has a lot of, I mean, there's countless composers that have in this range. But what I'm saying is you need something that really fills the time, like 20 to 30 minutes. Because that's how most second rounds or middle rounds work. In this scenario, I'm talking about like a small to mid-sized competition that has 3 rounds. And the second one would include some sort of free choice in the second round. Okay, so now that you have it, let's recap so far what we have in the second round. We have a full Beethoven sonata and a big romantic or other a work of other period. It doesn't matter, but that is about 20 minutes. And then to top it off, you need a contemporary piece. And by definition, for me personally, contemporary means that the composer is still alive. I know that is not always the case. Some competitions say anything after 1945. Some say anything after 1960. It really doesn't matter what you go for, as long as you so to say comply with the composition rules. My advice is, however, to actually pick something from someone who's still alive, because then you will not have any issues ever, probably. Even if you play from someone who is recently deceased, I think they will still allow it in most cases, but pick something that is really contemporary and modern. Okay, now the last thing we talk about is the concerto, which is the third round of the competition normally, or the finale. So you need a concerto that is offered in any competition, and if you're looking for that, the answer is probably Beethoven's Fifth Concerto, because there hasn't been a single competition that I have not seen it being offered. I mean, it gets pickier with something like Schumann Concerto. It's not always offered, although in many cases it is, and it's definitely a lot less likely, let's say, with if you have a Mozart concerto that isn't one of the most popular, or if you have like a Bach concerto, then you can probably forget about it. So you need a concerto that is offered absolutely everywhere. My advice is Beethoven Fifth. If you want something easier, go for Beethoven Third. Otherwise, if you like to play more romantic music, go for Schumann concerto, Chopin concerto number 1. I have indeed seen that sometimes only the first one is offered, and Rachmaninoff number 2 is probably the safer choice as well, because third is sometimes also not offered. So these are the concerti to choose from, and I would advise against going for Liszt concerto because they're usually too short for final round. I mean, they don't offer them always. And of course, Tchaikovsky concerto and Prokofiev are also very popular, and those are also safe bets. They're just harder. So yeah, those are the pieces that you would, um, if you have these pieces for these 3 rounds, then you are really well set, I would say, for any competition that comes up. So now we talked about a giving a mid-sized competition. Now let's talk about a recital of about 60 minutes. So if you can remember the second round of the competition, it's actually quite useful for our recital, right? Because look, we have a Beethoven sonata, which is about 20-25 minutes, and then we have a big work that is about 20 minutes. Okay, so we are already at 45 minutes, then we just need 15 minutes more, um, and our recital is set. Of course, your recital should does not have to be what you play in the competition. It should be what you like to play, first of all, or I mean, if it's a completely free recital, it should be what you play best. Or number 2, if it's a themed recital, which are very popular, then there has to be a theme that goes throughout. For example, I'm just giving an example. Um, Early Beethoven sonatas, okay, could be a theme, and then you play 3 early Beethoven sonatas. Or if your theme is, I don't know, the late Schubert, or the late Brahms pieces, whatever your or late pieces by composers, whatever, it doesn't matter. Pieces that are in E flat major, whatever your theme is, it needs you need a repertoire to fill it with. And otherwise, if you give a free recital, you really can pick your strengths, can pick whatever, and can even pick your competition repertoire. So if you have no other repertoire, I would say a recital with Beethoven sonata and a big romantic piece, and then maybe to finish it off, like a virtuoso piece, and it's a maybe a nocturne to finish it. It's a great repertoire. So already, if you have experience from your competition repertoire, you can use that. And if you're looking for, as I said, a themed recital, then okay, you just need to stick to the theme and can still do whatever. You might have to learn some new pieces because you don't have them available, but it's really not that big of a deal. So the only thing I would say for your personal recital is that obviously play towards your strengths. You don't want to play things that are your complete worst, right? So play towards your strengths, enjoy it. It's your recital. It's not a competition, even though you can use competition repertoire. So that would be my advice on repertoire that every pianist should have. I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know, guys, how are you guys covering from this list? How are you guys looking? So, do you have this repertoire already in your, in your bag, or are there a lot of gaps? I would like to know your answers, so leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time. Take care.